Secretary General of the UN during the Earth Summit in
Right.
1992.
Right.
Here's his quote to talk about, to show you that these people who are very, very powerful, like Maurice Strong,
Yeah.
and in the UN, this is how they think. They really think about this communistic system or whatever, despite the scare term. Here's his quote. Quote, current lifestyles and consumption patterns of the affluent middle class involving high meat intake, use of fossil fuels, appliances, home and work air conditioning, and suburban housing are not sustainable. So here's this guy saying, these people in the middle class, they're just too uppity. They've got air conditioning and they're eating meat. I don't think they should be doing that. And so it shows you, it reveals that behind what they're thinking is like, this is just total top-down communist full control system.
Absolutely.
I can't eat meat now? What the heck?
No. That's one of the things that is already started to be chipped away. Like they're doing that with the weather modification where they're you saw that in the last droughts and stuff in Texas, where people have just given up on their ability to raise cattle because it's a drought. They can't, year after year after year, they can't do it. But when you add that up, when you go, oh, this is part of the agenda, then you see all of these other kinds of legislations coming down, legislating this, that, and the other about the meat industry, and then you go, oh, look, here it is right here in this agenda. And then you realize, oh, in agriculture, they're going after agriculture. If they're going after suburbia, now that's unsustainable. We can't have that. And then you realize that they are allowing all over the country country roads to deteriorate. You think they can't do this, and then again, you understand what the agenda, overarching agenda is, and then you just start watching. The little things start coming down, and you go, why, look at that. They can do it, and they are doing it.
Should we show the map?
Well, yeah, I think that would be good. That would.
Should we ignore the clips?
Yeah, go for the wildlands clip.
It'll be like the third tab.
The third clip, number 3.
And anyway, I just want to say, so they're going also after private property and saying where you can build, where you can't build, or where you can live, where you can't live.
Where you can't live.
And let's just take what our founding fathers said, such as John Adams. He said, quote, property must be secured or liberty cannot exist.
Yeah.
So private property, when they start messing with your private property, they're talking about, they're going after some fundamental parts of our democracy itself, or our republic itself. George Washington, he said, private property and freedom are inseparable. So these people saying, putting additional regulations on properties, farms, and stuff like that, saying you have to have, this or that or whatever they're doing. You know more than I on that.
Yeah.
They're going after just some of the fundamentals of our country, and without which we will fall.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. That's the clip, Allie, but it's not coming up out here for some reason. But anyway, what we're talking about is something that is in conjunction with Agenda 21, which is something called the Wildlands Project, right here. If you want to research, it's a Wildlands Project. I heard about this several years ago, and I went, oh, that's impossible. Nobody would really do that.
And we'll show the map here of what they want to do for for the United States. Where you can live, where you can't live. It's actually behind me right here. Look, we live over here.
There it is. Okay. The red part, nobody can live there. The yellow part, completely controlled
tightly
use.
Controlled,
tightly controlled use.
Now you can't even see it in there.
Yeah, you can't even see the green.
A green. There are green parts in this map. But they're basically just like little islands of where people can live.
Right.
And it's shocking when you see this. Go look this up. It's called you can look it up on the web. Simulated Reserve and Corridor System to Protect Biodiversity, which sounds great.
Yeah, just go Wildlands Project.
But when you actually look at what they're actually trying to implement, they're saying you can only be on these reservations. This is worse than what they did to the Native Americans.
If you show the next clip, it'll show California and Nevada, and it might be a little bit...
Yeah, Allie, on the computer, you might go to the next tab. Just click on the next tab, and that will show the portion of the map for California, which will be very interesting.
And like I say, it's just hard to believe. You know,
you can barely see the green on the California map when it's blown up.
It's quite difficult to suspend everything you know about reality up to this point and believe that this is possible. But again, you have to understand where it's coming from, a totally legitimate power source that is already working here locally. You wonder why we have the bulb outs, the traffic calming, all of that kind of stuff. That is part of Agenda 21. And so many of our local legislators don't even know what they're actually enforcing because, again, it comes down through the pyramid.
Right. Allie, if you want to go to the next tab, we'll show you a quote from the Club of Rome, which is connected to the United Nations and Agenda 21. Go ahead and explain that connection.
Okay. All right. This was...
I can read this? Or
okay,
you
can read
first?
it. You can see better than I am, you young man, you.
Okay, I'm going to read you this quote from a book called The First Global Revolution. It's by an organization called the Club of Rome, which is a very spooky organization that Nancy will talk about in a second.
That's behind all of this stuff.
But basically they say, in searching for a common, this I'm reading directly from the book, you can see it for yourself. In searching for a common enemy against whom we can unite, we came up with the idea that pollution, the threat of global warming, this is in I think
1972.
Yeah, 1972.
Oh no, this is a little later.
The threat of global warming, or 92 or something like that.
Yeah, 90.
Water shortages, famine and the like would fit the bill for searching for a common enemy. Okay, in their totality and their interactions, these phenomenon would constitute a common threat which must be confronted by everyone together. But in designating these dangers as the enemy, we fall into the trap which we have already warned readers about, namely mistaking symptoms for causes. All these dangers are caused by something intervention in natural processes. And here's the most important part of this, and I'll try to read it well. and it is only through changed attitudes and behavior that they can be overcome. The real enemy then is humanity itself. And I read that terribly because it's hard to read on the screen. But anyway, so they're saying the enemy is humanity itself.
Right. Yeah, because they need that they
and
want to move.
They came up with the idea of global warming and pollution.
Because all of this time through from 1972, they're of course it would be before that, but that was their big. They wrote out something called limits to growth. In all of this time, the powers that be that we've been talking about have every intention of moving us all to a one world government. And right here they're telling you we need something to unite the people, to get them to go arm in arm and be enthusiastic about moving to a one world government.
And right here where it says, we came up with, I'm going to show you right here. Allie, go to the next tab on there. I'm going to show you that this whole global warming, climate change thing is a total farce. This graph right here shows you the carbon dioxide level in the Earth atmosphere over hundreds of millions of years. It goes from the present time, which is at the left, to I think about 600, it's hard to read on there, but it's about 500 million years in the past towards the right. You can see that carbon dioxide was way, way higher than it is now. Today on the left of the side of the graph, it's almost nothing. And Allie, if you go to the next clip, we'll show even the temperature of the Earth that also is not, this graph is oriented in the opposite way into where the present time is on the right and the passes to the left also in tens of millions of years, if not hundreds of millions of years. But anyway, temperature has been much, much higher than it has been now, and temperature has always changed, which means that climate change is natural and normal. And so these things are frauds. When people say we need to conserve carbon and all these things and sustainability and all this stuff, it's a fraud in order to go for a total control, UN-controlled, planned economy, communism, do everything for the community, and then you lose your individual power.
Well, yeah, I mean, and on top of that, you have, as I've done programs before on it, is weather modification, which is very explainable, about the irrational things that are happening. And with the weather, you go, well, that has to be global warming. There's no other explanation. No, there is another explanation. They're just not telling you what it is. But and then I would just kind of like to go back. But you go, oh, but what about Al Gore? What about all these wonderful people who are trying to save us? Al Gore is connected at the hip with Maurice Strong and a lot of these other people who are right now, as we speak, making millions, billions, who knows how much money off of the cap and trade and carbon taxing schemes.
Can I just read two quotes?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, another founding father stuff warned us about these type of things. James Madison said, quote, "I believe that there are more instances of the abridgment of the freedom of the people by gradual and silent encroachments of those in power than by violent and sudden usurpations." And that's what we're seeing. Thomas Jefferson, "What has destroyed liberty and the rights of man in every government which has ever existed under the sun?" Question. The answer, the generalizing and concentrating all cares and powers into one body.
Yeah.
Hello, that's the UN.
Right. We just have a tiny amount of time left.
Yeah. Allie,
Allie, could you just go to the second clip? This is an example of the cities that we intend to be forced into. This is called Masdar City. It's a joint venture with MIT. Go ahead and play it. MIT, Dubai, Prince Charles
the Masdar Initiative
is the patron.
Demonstrates Abu Dhabi's commitment to the challenges of climate change and energy conservation, and provides a model for international cooperation.
Looks a little bit like a prison to me.
And legislation. Go ahead.
Keep going, Allie.
Yeah.
Hit play again. Or space bar.
Well, anyhow, if that doesn't happen, what it is, if you saw it, a little aerial view there, what it is they intend to force humanity into literally walled cities.
Required to build the rest of the new city. Masdar will be a compact, high-density city, completely free from cars and their emissions, a model of energy conservation with zero carbon emissions and zero waste. Compared to average urban levels, fossil fuel consumption will be zero on site.
Wow, this all sounds so wonderful and great, but if you understand that this is actually a prison city, I've got to thank you. I've got to end it here. Sorry we didn't get to. Please join us again and we'll do this some more. Help.